thank you for this position here where we try to help people primarily, and just too much to list all your blessings, but Jesus is the best one for sure. Thank you for that. Love you, and amen.
Thank you, Sean. Roll call, Shelley.
Yes, ma'am. Janice Taylor.
Here.
Joe Deere.
Honey.
Keith Austin. Harley Buzzard. Joe Bird.
Honey.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Sean Crittenden. Mike Dobbins. Kanan Duncan. Rex Jordan. Daryl Legg. Wes Snowfire. Dora Petzkowski. Mike Shambaugh. Mary Bakershaw.
Honey.
E.O. Smith. Victoria Vasquez. We have a quorum.
Okay. Here. Counselor Shambaugh, late arrival. Counselor Shambaugh.
I got him.
I need an approval of the January 28 minutes, please. Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the January 28 meeting. All those in favor? Any opposition? Thank you, dear. Brings us to our reports. First up is Chuck Garrett with Cherokee Nation Businesses. Are you there? Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Of course, I had the opportunity to address the council on Monday evening, so I won't have a long report, but just to summarize, we are continuing to have some really good trends in both of our business units. The gaming recovering, of course, from the COVID pandemic, and the volumes increasing across the portfolio there. Our federal contracting continues to do well, building on their record year last year. So we're feeling quite good about the direction of both of the business units. As I mentioned Monday evening, we did have our casinos closed from Monday at about 5 p.m. through Friday at 1. And then on Roland, the casino opened on Saturday morning, and Grove on Monday morning. So we did have that shut down for a lot of good reasons that we discussed on Monday, and still feel like that was well received and was the right thing to do. Wanted to also mention that we are currently expanding our hours at our casinos, expanding the facilities that are available, both in terms of the gaming options and some of the gaming tables, as well as the hotel occupancy limits that we've self-imposed over the past 9 months. We're now at about 75% of available rooms beginning on the 12th. And towards the end of February, on the 26th, we're going to expand our available rooms to 100% of the room inventory. So we are heading in that direction of opening up. Of course, we're still adhering to our responsible hospitality protocols, so masking, no smoking, and those sorts of protocols. So I am happy to answer any questions, or try to answer any questions that counselors may have.
Does anybody have any questions for Chuck G? Okay, I think you're getting off easy.
Thank you, guys.
We will
Appreciate
see
it
you
very
in a
much.
couple of weeks. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that brings us to our treasurer report. And she is here in person. Good to see you, Trey.
You too. I believe everyone has the report in front of them. I don't think that I have anything in particular to talk about, but I will answer any questions.
Trey Lena, in the past months or so, used to give us reports, and I think Jody may have them now, is that I'd like to see the gammon trust funds and our 2% set aside those balances on those, if you would,
Certainly.
okay?
I'll get you
And
those.
I don't know if you can put them back in your reports or not, but I know Jody has them, but I'd like to see them in your reports.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
I'm just waiting for you to call me. On last month's report, went through all the CRF money. And since then, I think there had been some insurance claim outs to C&B on their, I think it was insurance for loss of funds or damages and everything that they're going to get paid back for. Now, I know we sent them some CRF money in response to COVID. Are they getting that, and they're still going to get their insurance claim payouts for all the employee loss of salary and everything that they filed?
I'm not aware that there's been an actual insurance payout yet.
Okay,
I know that they have a claim for insurance, it's called business interruption.
right.
And what they're claiming there is loss of revenue. So what we paid them from the CRF did not include any loss of revenue. It was only expenses incurred. So we were reimbursing them for direct expenses that they incurred because of COVID-19. So what they've claimed on their insurance is the loss of revenue. I believe that's in litigation right now. I don't believe that they've received any actual payment from that, so.
Maybe I should ask Chuck that too, because if there's a loss of revenue to file the claim, how are they able to pay out the bonus structure from last year? How would
Well,
they been able to
they still earned
manipulate
some
that?
revenue. They just had a decreased revenue. They've lost some revenue, but they still earned some. They were closed for 3 months, but they were open for, the other 9.
Gotcha. And then the other question, I think I asked it last month, but we didn't have a plan with it yet. I know we just passed the wellness bill that we were kind of talking maybe where we could have done some of the funds with whenever Councilor Buzzard brought up about using some of the funds for mental health, and I had said that there were $72 million that were earmarked in your report to pay for Cherokee Nation employees, which are majority federally funded employees. So we paid them with the CARES money, but then we still had the budget from the $72 million that was federal funds coming in that we didn't pay employees with. So do we know what we're going to do with those money and where we're going to see those come through in the future?
So we had to pay for Wilma P. Mankiller and OSU Medical. We had to finish building those buildings. And the other thing is that we have a balloon payment coming up on our loan for Cherokee Nation Outpatient Health Clinic coming up in a couple of years, so we've got to plan around that as well.
I'm sorry, a balloon payment on what now? I didn't hear you.
We have a balloon payment coming due on the Outpatient Health Center, the large outpatient health center here in Tahlequah.
Okay,
We took out the large loan for it. We took out about a $150 million loan. We did a 5-year loan term. This was prior administration.
right.
So we have a balloon payment coming due in about 3.5 years now. So we've got to make plans for that. We can refinance or we can pay down. So we're have some decisions to make around that as well.
So that 72 million then was really just kind of structured in to pay for the stuff that C&B should have been paying for. That's correct?
Yeah,
And then they still took a drawdown off of us from the CRF money. So how
Yeah.
much was the overall drawdown again? Was it 128, I think, something like that, million?
what we transferred to them in general, we transferred money for their employees and then for their expenses on top of that they incurred.
Right.
And altogether it was 127 million.
So 127 plus 72, it's over $200 million that C&B needed to keep propped up last year. And they
Yeah.
still got a bonus structure built for all the executives out of it. It's
I mean,
just,
it was for
that's
all
that's
employees.
a concern. I'm just saying that because it's a concern of how much money we propped up our businesses. And, there wasn't dividend checks coming back out of it, but there was executive bonus structure still getting paid with what money did they show from revenue income? Was it the CRF money that we're sending them, or was it their own revenue stream? Because they did file a lawsuit that showed that they had a devastation loss on their businesses. So it's all a lot of money moving over to the business sides or covering their losses, but not a lot coming back. There are not a lot of plans that come back. It's just, there's not a lot of accounting, I guess, and that's where you showed us all where the money was going, but there's not a lot of accounting of where it was actually spent. The $128 million that C&B used, what did they use it on? Because there's a lot of property purchases and a lot of expenditures that came out of that we don't know about, that they spent with that over at C&B when they got it. Because they're doing a
So
tourism building that they said they bought with
CNB's
it.
full financials are in your packet each month. So
Right.
it shows it there each month, and the CRF payments to them did not show in their revenue at all. It was, it didn't affect their top line or bottom line because it was a wash. They went out as expenses and it went right back in to replace those. So it's a net zero effect on their books as to what, it didn't go in as revenue and it didn't hit the bottom line as net income because it was all in expenses.
But they would have took that money out and made purchases with it, right?
Yeah, of like PPE and
And buildings and land, because they did buy the land, or they did buy the building with the soundstage and stuff.
no,
It's just-
that's a Cherokee Nation building.
It's just trying to, I guess, the money that we sent to cover that, so you said it's a wash over at C&B. There would have been money that they spent, though, because they said they've spent it on certain items. Are we gonna get a report of those items they purchased with it? That's a lot of money.
I can put together something for you if you'd like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that's, as an appropriations of the body that we are,
But-
I think it's only necessary that we should see what it went towards.
And I showed that the majority of it was salaries and payroll. There was
In a pie
only-
chart, yeah, but that's a good explanation visually, but as far as a detailed list of where it went to, I'd like to know what it was spent on.
Of the it hasn't been 127 million yet. That's what's allocated to them. They're still doing drawdowns for the next few months. Of that, it's going to be about 32 million that were actual expenses. The rest of it's going to be salaries and wages.
Okay, well, the expenses and stuff is definitely something I'm concerned about, of what we purchased with it, because it doesn't really seem germane to all the guideline expenses for COVID-related needs directly anyways. But that's something that you might look into and see what C&B's willing to cough up to you, so you can share it with us. So, but I appreciate it, Chair.
And
That's something
with
very
regards to the
concerning.
dividends coming back, there was also a slide in there that showed that what C&B returned to the nation in dividends in that year was 109 million.
Right, but they can't show dividends back to us through CARES Act money, right? They can't show that and then put that back, because that would be, you can't, what was it on the CARES Act money, one of the guidelines, and I'm sorry if I can't remember it off the top of my head, but you can't make up for things that are already been budgeted for, and you can't show certain income, it can't be part of your income revenue. And so it has to be as far as new expenditures. And so I was just kind of curious on all this money that we went over there, where did it go? Once it went to C&B, it kind of just seems like, well, payroll, purchases, but I think it's good to know where we went. That's money that's life-changing to a lot of our citizens and a lot of the tribes standing going forward. And I know we've expressed where some of it went through news articles and outlets, but as far as this council, I think we deserve to know what was purchased with it. It was our money that we appropriated to the chief to allow him to spend it on those needs, but when it went to C&B, we don't see what happened. So I think it's only the best interest of the citizens that the council sees where the money went. So I think that'd be a good place to start, is getting that information back to us if we can. So, and I appreciate it.
I think there are a couple things to keep in mind. The CARES money has very specific things that you can spend it on. You can't just spend it to replace lost revenue. It has to go to very specific things, and I can assure you that it did. Secondly, C&B honored the amount of dividend that they promised us.
Right.
Even with that business interruption. We
Right.
still got our full dividend.
And I appreciate that. Then obviously you know what was spent on it, because you said you know that they obviously spent it within those guidelines. I don't know that. All I've seen is a sound stage and maybe some other things that CNBC that purchases, but I don't have, you're married to a board member that might see that information. I don't know.
And maybe
all those
married to a board member
information.
has nothing to do with this. I don't know specifically where it was spent, but I'll tell you this, anytime you get money from Treasury, you better account for every dime of it, or you won't get any more of it.
It's not an
And
attack
so-
on you. It's just simply asking, you said you knew where it was spent, then, okay, great, can we get it? I'm just asking, can we get that information shared to the rest of the council? That's all I'm asking for. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add, I don't, know all the details or anything, but I don't want it to get lost that a lot of the employees that contacted me, West Siloam, CNI, I seen where some of that money went to help them have a paycheck during all of this, helped them buy groceries, helped them buy clothes for their kids. It helped a whole lot. We don't, I don't mind getting to the bottom of whatever we need to get to the bottom of, but it also needs to be brought out. There was a lot of people, employees, that were treated right, treated perfect. Every job I've ever had, I've not been treated perfect. But I just don't want to lose sight of the pay that those people got. And like I say, I seen where a lot of that money went. It was paying bills and a lot of different things. So appreciate the discussion here, but I wanted to interject that.
Oh, ma'am, I'm good, thank you.
All right, we will move on to Diane Kelly, who I am sure Diane is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. You have my report. It's a very lengthy report. I wanted to spotlight the coming home reentry program that Matt Lamont has, because he worked very diligently and hard during the time that we were home working on the pandemic. We put out all those grants, and he got 4 of his funded, and he's rolling out a lot of good stuff. He's working with the county court systems, got the Justice Department involved, and he's getting a lot of jobs for these people, and we're identifying businesses that will hire our reentry people throughout the 14-county area. And we're trying to make sure that we have a reentry counselor in every one of our field locations.
Wow.
So that we have people that come in, there'll be somebody there that can work with them. And he's networking very well with the state organizations as well as the internal organizations to get resources for these people. Our disability initiative, Josh Drywater heads that up. He also heads up the employment recovery program. These are Department of Labor programs, and we were very fortunate to get that grant, and he worked very hard to get that. And it's part of the CARES Act program initiative to get people back into the mainstream of employment. And he and his staff transferred several people out to other departments, so we have a very few limited people in his department right now, but they're doing a fantastic job. He's based out of our Tulsa office, but covers the 14 counties. You also have pictures of some of our summer youth success stories where they're working. We've got the Hope and Restore program that Ashana Miles is doing. And she and Josh are having to have webinars with the Department of Labor just about every week. We have a new project officer, and she's meeting with the state and us on a regular basis. So she's actually cracking the whip, and they're responding and getting all these reports into her. But I would like to say something about the CARES Act money, because you all were talking about this. Having worked here as long as I have, I don't want to say that we were fortunate to have the CARES Act. I mean, yes, we were fortunate that the Cherokee Nation was able to get CARES Act money. But this is the first time I have ever seen us put money back out there into these communities for our Cherokee people. We did it through our clothing for the kids. We got the Chromebooks through education. We helped our elders. We helped our veterans. And we're doing emergency assistance right now. And I say that because my TANF people, John Crenton and Brenda Fitzgerald, and their staff have been assisting Human Services in going through those applications and helping to get people the resources. And during this whole time, our Cherokee people have benefited. And this is the first time in all the years I've worked here that I've seen checks actually go back out there. And I think that you have to applaud our administration. You pat yourself on the back, and even the people in the finance office. I know Trey Lena and our department have worked very closely in trying to get those things out on a timely fashion. And I commend everybody that's worked on that aspect of it, because a lot of our people have come up to us and said, thank you so much for helping us to get that application put in the system and get some resources. So I just wanted to pat everybody on the back, because we've really done an outstanding job this past year that probably nobody knows what we've done. My TANF program is very successful. John Crenton, I can't say enough about him and the whole team that's working in these outlining offices to get these people employed. That was the whole idea for us taking on the TANF program, was to try to look at the TANF program and it not be just a welfare program where people would get a check, but to look at the whole family and see what we could do to get these people in training and get them into jobs so that they wouldn't have to depend on a welfare check monthly. And they're doing a good job. Hunter Palmer heads up the Tribal Economic Development and TED program. He's been working with Jennifer Lauren in the film office. He's been working with Howard Payton and the language program. He's working with the Delaware Resource Group, and he's been heading up the specialized program through the Cherokee Career Initiative that you all put into law, with our lineman program, our fiber program, and the specialty training programs for health. And I put in one of the posters that Larry Doherty works on and trying to get information out in our locations to let people know about job search, vocational training, on-the-job training, Job Corps. And we've also got information that goes out on the website. We work with Julie Hubbard and her team to get information out there. This past month, we have identified 4 economic development projects. We're working with C&B, Andy McMillan. They're called like Project Rhode Island, Project Sundance. They come up with names. We don't come up with the names. Either the Commerce Department or one of the chambers comes up with them. And right now, they're looking at Tulsa, and they're looking at the city of Muskogee for an aerospace project. And we are tied in with both of these 2 towns. Whichever one gets it, then we'll be helping them with some of the recruitment efforts and trying to identify the workforce that they're going to need. But there's at least 2 or 3 others out there in the works, and they're looking at some expansions in some of the towns, and we're working with them on recruitment as well. So when you look at career services and you go to our offices, you may see an array of programs, but they're all working in tandem together, and we're also working with the state. The state was here this morning, and they're consolidating Muskogee Eastern with Tulsa, and it's going to be called Green Country. And we are sharing space for them because that helps us to have another resource that we can put people into. So with that said, do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Diane? I think Daryl Legg does.
Hey, Diane. On your employment recovery program, there's initials AXH employees. What does that stand for? What is it?
The report.
Oh, okay. Keith Austin answered it.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
Bye, Diane.
And I do have one question about the Delaware Resource Group. Is that something that we will be able to practice Cherokee preference on, or just the fact that we're involved in that, we may be able to push some of our Cherokee citizens into those jobs?
That's what we're hoping to do. That's one of the reasons why we're working with them. It'll be open to anybody, but we anticipate helping to get some of those welders jobs and maybe some of those people that are not going to be employed because of the pipeline.
Okay, and I'm sure you're going to stay in close communication with our at-large counselors to try and utilize the contacts that they have in those areas.
We will.
Okay.
We had, back some time ago, I think it was during Chief Baker's administration, they signed an agreement with the pipeline, and we've got some of those people that are coming back because they're going to be without jobs. And I know the Biden administration has talked about trying to get them retrained or get them into other jobs. So we're trying to assist any of them that are Cherokee members that come toward our offices to see what we can do to help them.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Diane. Anything else
Uh-huh.
for Diane? Okay, we're going to cut you loose. It's sure good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you too.
Okay, that brings us to Commerce. Anna Knight, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Tell us something good.
Oh, great. Well, you have a copy of our report. We're just right in the middle of grant season and tax season. And then we have this year, with our approved and our pending loans, we're almost at $2 million in loaning out to small businesses this year. So we kind of look for this to maybe be a record year to try to help small businesses. And I think I've mentioned before, the majority of our loans are typically startup loans. They are high risk loans that these people can't get loans anywhere else. So anyhow, other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, and you've already started the VITA program, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We started preparing taxes February 12th.
Okay. Questions? Okay, Anna, you're getting off easy. It must have been a good report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us down to our consent items. The tarot certifications are in your book. Unless somebody has some questions about them, I'll entertain a motion to approve them. Got a motion and a second on the tarot certifications. All those in favor? Any opposition? You got a new community assistance list. Look over it. Be sure you've got everything that you requested this month.
Do have one addition for Councilor Austin, $932 for City of Claremore.
Go ahead, Counselor Smith.
Could I add $500 to Gore Public Schools, please?
Got it?
Counselor Duncan?
I need 1,000 to Boys and Girls Club of Adair County.
Did you have some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Counselor No Fire?
2,500 to Tel Holt and 2,500 to Dry Creek.
Counselor Crittenden?
Chair, lady, can I ask Bo Blue Shirt something?
I'll allow it.
Do you want to do what we were talking about with the young lady here, or you want to wait?
Yeah, right here's fine. That sounds good.
So, if you don't mind, Jody, Kanan, let's hold off just a little bit if you don't mind. I'm kind of like my wife. I'm kind of being indecisive here. All right. Sorry about that, Chair.
Counselor Shambaugh?
I need 2,000 for Wycliffe School.
Okay.
Back to Counselor Smith.
I'm
Round
sorry,
two.
but God's Blessing Clothes Closet, $600.
What was that name again?
God's Blessing Clothes Closet.
Okay.
Real fast 10 times, it'd be hard.
I said it was round two.
I was looking through my list. I was trying to find the name earlier. And I was like, oh, I'll get them next month. But $1,500 to Tahlequah Area Coalition for the Homeless. It's been pretty hard on them the past week, so just wanted to make sure we could try to help them out some more.
Tahlequah, what was that again?
Tahlequah Area Coalition for the Homeless.
Counselor Jordan, did we take care of the senior? Already did? Okay. We're good then.
Going once? Okay, Shelley, do we have a motion already? Okay. I got a motion and a second on the community assistance. All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay, there's that one. Okay, Joe, do you want to speak to the law enforcement?
Yes, your new money for motor vehicle tax is, it's on the report, but, and I know you guys have got some that you're turning in, but, you know, it's in the budget mod this month, so they're not on the details aren't on the reports yet, but we will be processing those, once the budget, is approved.
Okay, so.
And we do process those, you know, when those come in, we go ahead and process those. We don't have to wait on the actual detail approvals on those like we do on community assistance.
Counselor Dobbins, did you have a question?
Jody, translate again. When will law enforcement funds be available?
Once it's in this month's budget mod, so you can go ahead and start turning in requests now, and once the budget mod's approved, we'll go ahead and start processing those, so.
And the roads money similarly?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
And Jody, forgive me, were there any new law enforcement requests?
That should
On
be,
the old
we'll
money?
just approve what's in the report, and then there'll be, I know there'll be more coming in.
Okay, so I do need a motion and a second on the law enforcement that was in this report. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay, there was a roads list.
I actually have an addition to the roads list.
Okay.
For Counselor Smith, Indian Road riprap, and that's out of his motor fuel tax funds for $14,525. That came in after the book was submitted, so.
Okay. Could I get a motion for roads, please? Got a motion and a second for the roads request. All those in favor? Looks like there was one new sports team down in Sequoia County, so why don't you take that, Junior? Motion to approve. Just say that. Got a motion and a second on the sports team. All those in favor? Any opposition? There were no new livestock requests. Okay. So that brings us down to new business. Chief Byrd, you want to take the first one?
Resolution to authorize Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus items to Briggs Public School. Put that in form of motion.
Motion and a second on the donation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Counselor No Fire, you want to take the second one?
Yes, this is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Warehouse to donate surplus items to Woodall Public School, and I'll put that in form of a motion for its approval.
Got a motion and a second on the second donation. All those in favor? Any opposition? Okay. Counselor Austin, would you do the capital budget mod, please?
This is an act amending legislative act 16-1 authorizing comprehensive capital budget for fiscal year 2021, mod 4, and declaring an emergency. I put that in the form of a motion.
Have a motion and a second on the capital mod. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, you got a new copy of the operating mod. Trey, would you come back in and go over what's changed, please?
Jody, can you help out with that?
She's right here.
Jody can help.
Just what's different than what's in our book, because I think everybody's going to want to know that.
Yes, ma'am. What is added here is if you look on the third page, it's actually the number 1, but it's the third page of the packet that I handed out to you. It's number 11 on there, and it's the Self-Help Emergency Assistance Program for $250,000. And that is an additional, what we're doing is we're basically reloading that fund. We're using unexpended program funds from the NAHASDA to reload that program where each district got $10,000 for emergency housing rehab type work. And you can read the, there's a program narrative in there, but basically it's to help with the emergency repairs that are needed, in large part due to the winter weather that we've just received. So it's $10,000 per district, and then there's $100,000 that can be used throughout the district, so, or throughout the reservation, I'm sorry.
Okay, I knew everybody would be excited about that. I actually expected Crittenden to really be excited.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so can I get a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the budget that was just handed out.
Got a motion and a second on the operating budget. All those in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, are there any announcements? Okay, next meeting is tentatively scheduled for March 25th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? We are adjourned.